So yeah, I want to just talk about an idea that I think is just like really important, and it's talked about a lot, and you know, it's on the top of discussion for everybody, right? And there's hundreds of billions of dollars dedicated to research and development in this area. Um, it's a huge concept. It's called racism, right? And I want to analyze the context of racism from the lenses from a Talmudic lens, from a Torah lens, from the lenses of our sages, and from the experiences as an African American, right? Because much of what I learned about racism was through those lenses, right? Now, one of the issues that people have when we have these type of conversations is that if you address the issue of racism in a way that is not understood by the person that you're speaking to, most of the times they'll say, oh, well, you're being apologetic. You're not holding people accountable, right? And that's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about a more expanded consciousness. So the problem that, from a spiritual perspective, that comes along with the concept of racism is that if someone says, okay, you know what, there's systematic racism or this person's racist. So if someone's racist, right? If someone's racist, what does that mean? That means that they have the power to stop me from achieving something, right? Like racism has this power to, racism doesn't allow me to make as much money as I could. Racism does not allow me to have the quality of life that I want to have. Racism is why, the different challenges that exist in my life, right? Why these things exist. And so the issue with that is that when you say that, then you're taking God out of the equation, right? When you say there's systematic racism and that's why I'm not making money or making the money that I should be making, then you're saying God doesn't provide financing. God doesn't give us parnasa. He doesn't give us sustenance. That's what you're saying. When you're saying that my physical safety is threatened because of racism, right? When you say that, then you're saying God is not a protector, right? You're saying God does not protect me as an individual. He doesn't protect me. When you say, whatever thing you want to attach to racism, that's it. And so my point of making this point in this video is to say that racism is a mind control mechanism that detaches black people and white people away from God's power. God's omnipresent power, God's ability to provide everything that we need, God being the provider of all things, God being the knower of all things. That reality is ruined with racism. And perhaps if you were trying to enslave a group of people psychologically, you would have to cut them off from God, right? Because if they're cut off from God, then they are in a position of your influence. You get to decide, right? So the idea, the concept of everything that's going on is to be able to analyze it from the Torah, because the Torah gives us the instructions, the teachings, to be able to analyze society and analyze reality from the context of God. If I'm receiving judgment in a physical reality, the first thing I should be checking is my relationship with the Creator. How am I connecting to the Creator? And not in terms of devotion, but in terms of my character, how I treat other people, how I treat my wife, how I treat, children, how I treat neighbors, how I treat nature, how I treat myself. All these things are determined that. So the point is just saying that racism as a social construct, racism as an idea, has no true value. Now, this is where people will get stuck at. People say, well, how could you say that, Mordechai? Rabbi Mordechai, how could you say that, right? Well, they could say that. I could say that because if someone comes up to me and, God forbid, attacks me, God forbid, or attacks anyone, God forbid, right? That I can say that the words that this person said to me are the reasons why they attacked me. Or I could look at it and say that, no, God is bringing a din into my life. He's bringing a judgment. Now, this is the difference between apologetics and the Torah. even though God is God is the creator of everything, right? Everything that exists is from the creator. Everything we experience is from the creator, right? So if that's the case, we should take up any issues we have with the creator. True. But we also live in a physical reality. And in this physical reality, sometimes God will put us in positions to defend ourselves. God will put us in positions to have to seek justice, right? Because these are also attributes of Torah. So there is a spiritual world, which all things are influenced by the Creator, and they manifest themselves physically. And so we have to address both things, right? That's why when someone does something nice for you, you don't say, "Oh, thank God," right? No, you thank the person. You say, "Thank you so much. Look what you've done for me." This, you thank the person, right? I mean, if you're a higher neshama, right? You thank the person. You don't say, "Oh wow, this good thing you just did for me. You know what? I'm thanking God." And you don't acknowledge the person, right? You have to acknowledge the person and you acknowledge the creator. You acknowledge the whole system. So it's not to say that people who act out racism or people who act out harm upon others, that those people should not be brought to justice. And the inequities that came through different forms of subjugation and oppression should be rectified, whether it's reparations or whatever you want to say. But the bottom line is that still, in order for me to improve my situation, in order to improve my life, to experience the quality of life, one of the ideas in the American Constitution is that I have the right to pursue happiness, right? And so in the pursuance of that happiness, we're throwing in another dynamic, that the power of resistance can never be anything other than God. And so whoever tries to convince me that the power of resistance is in their hands, is given to them, is a person that's surely trying to mislead me, surely trying to make me into a slave. Because the only way that I can change my life, the only way I can leave Egypt is by God pulling me out, right? The only way I could receive true knowledge is about that. And so like during these 7 weeks, from the time of Pesach to Shavuot, this should be the process of unraveling, right? Removing layers of thought, removing layers of clarity. If you're connected, if you had a holy Seder, every week you should be revealing more truths about yourself, about life, because Matan Torah is about finding out what makes us unique, what our purpose is in this world. That's what it was. Like, it's not just like, oh, well, we received the Torah and Moses, prophesied, the future and everything. Yeah, that's true, 100%. But the Torah, in its essence, already came down. The klal of Hashem's wisdom, the general knowledge came down on Mount Sinai. But that knowledge is only a tool for me to access. For me to access my uniqueness, right? And that's why I'm here in this world. I'm here in this world just to access my uniqueness and express that uniqueness in every aspect of my life. Like uniqueness meaning the way that I understand God's commandment in my way of acting out, right? Some people say a bracha, in a certain tone. Some people say a bracha another tone. Some people daven out loud. Some people daven very quietly. Some people learn Gemara very disciplined. Some people learn Kabbalah in depth. It's all types of expressions of who we are, right? But how we apply ourselves and how we connect and how we express, only we can do that. No one else can say what I'm saying right now on planet Earth but me. And the same thing goes for you, right? No one can do what you're going to do today. No one else can do it. So this idea of removing the power from the things around us and being able to transform that power to the Creator. The Creator is the bestower. The Creator is the manifester. I have Bechira. I have this idea of free will, and that allows me to express my unique way of understanding God, my unique way of using this physical body and soul to be able to manifest God's will in my unique way. So that being said, you should continue to have this powerful week of Netzach, and and be able to use that strength and that perseverance of Netzach to break past any boundaries, right? As you get closer to your destination, there's so many things are going to go wrong. There's going to be people who turn, people who change, people who lie, people who do things, people make up things. You're going to have business things that fall apart, maybe even health challenges, God forbid, right? But the bottom line is you're getting closer to the destination. And you just need to break past whatever illusion that may be presented to you by God. That illusion that says that you're not going to make it, that you are not unique, that you're only a part of a collective, right? That is what you have the power to break through, because you're unique, you have a special purpose, and you're in this lifetime to manifest it.